The army of angels. Angels are divided into definite ranks, each with separate duties and honors. However, as with all aspects of angelology, what these exact ranks are depends largely on the scholars asked. Still, one of the most common listings of heresy used in Pseudo-Dionysius, this list comprises 9 distinct orders of angels within 3 major headings, known as choirs. Despite the many listings available, most contain the same ranks and differ only in the order represented. Seraphim. First heresy or choir clustered around the central core of purity. The uppermost section of heresy, these are the angels closest to the throne of God. It is they who unceasingly chant the trisagion, Holy, 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 and encircle the throne, existing of the life of imitated by God. It is the fiery life which gives them the term fiery serpents. In this form of fiery serpents, it is said that the light they give off is so intense that not even other divine beings may look on them. There is said to be 4 of these angelic beings. They are listed as the 4 holy beasts in the book of Revelation, and are also described as angels with 4 faces and 6 wings. Seraphims have 6 wings, 2 cover their faces, 2 cover their feet, and 2 are for flying. The only Bible reference is Isaiah 6 verse 1 to 7. One of them touched Isaiah's lips with coal from the altar to cleanse him from sin. And that is what seraphim angels are, the first and the highest order. Second to the only, the seraphim. The cherubim holds the knowledge of God. It is also they who are often sent to earth with the greatest tasks of the expulsion of man from the Garden of Eden and the incarnation of Christ, were performed both by the cherubim. Spirits of the harmonies, the guardians of the fixed stars, keepers of celestial records, bestowers of knowledge. Chief rulers are Ophael, Ricabel, Zophael, and before his fall, even Satan. In Kabbalah, cherub is one of the angels of the air, in name as well as in concept. The cherub or the Assyrian or Akkadian in origin. The word in Akkadian is Karubian and means one who prays or one who is interceded. Although Dionysius is declared the word that to mean knowledge. In ancient Assyrian art, the cherubim were pictured as huge winged creatures with lion or human faces, bodies of bulls or sphinxes, eagles, etc. They were usually placed at the entrances to places or temples as guardian spirits. In early canonist law, the cherubim were not conceived of as angels. Thales, bishop of Harsala, who declared these cherubims not to be any angelic powers but rather some horrible visions of beasts, which might terrify Adam from the entrance of the paradise. From Chalcelt, a trice of angels, it was only later that the cherubim began to regard as heavenly spirits. The folia on the cherubim. They symbolize God's highest and chief potence, sovereignty, and goodness. They are the first angels to be mentioned and to be constructed as angels in the Old Testament, Genesis 3 verse 22. They guarded with flaming swords the tree of life and Eden, hence their designation as the flame of withering swords. In Exodus 25 verse 8, we find two cherubim of God on either side of the ark. See purification in Scaf, a dictionary of the Bible. Cherubim of glory, shadowing the mercy seat in Hebrew 9:5, in Ezekiel 10 verse 14. Each with 4 faces and 4 wings appeared at the river Sebar, where the Hebrew prophet glimpses them. In Kings 6 verse 23, the two cherubim in Solomon's temple are carved out of olive wood. In Arabic and occult law, the cherubim are prevalently through the categories of God's bearer of his throne and personifications of the wind. In Revelations 4 verse 8, they are living creatures who render unceasing praise to their Maker. Here, St. John refers to them as beasts, holy divine beasts, 6-winged and full of eyes within. John of Damascus, in the exposition of the Orthodox faith, also speak of the cherubim as many-eyed. In Talmud, and cherubim are equated with the order Ophanim, wheels of chariots, or the order Hathlet, holy beasts, and are said to reside in the 6th or 7th heaven. In the Dionysian scheme, the cherubim rank second, and the 9 Chor heresy and are guardians of the flex stars, chief rulers, as listed in most occult work, including Oakfael, Ricabel, Cerebel, Raphael, Gabriel, Sophiel, and before his fall Satan, who was, as Parente says, the angels. The supreme angel in the choir of cherubim. In the early traditions of Muslim law, it is claimed that cherubim were formed from the tears of Michael, said over the sins of the faithful. Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, IV 616. Demons and spirits. In secular law, in cherubim have been called black cherubim, young-eyed cherubim, helmed cherubim. Blake describes of Satan as the covering cherubim and turns to Ezekiel vision of the 4 creatures in his own 4 zones. The letters that surround the 4 temples, trumpets heralding the apocalypse. As the angel of light, glory, and the keepers of celestial records, the cherubim excel in knowledge. The notation of winged multiple-headed beasts serving as guardians of the temples and places must have been general in many Near Eastern countries, for in addition to appearing the Assyrian, Chaldean, Babylonian art and writing, Ezekiel obsessively first came upon them. They were, as already noted, in canonist law, with which the Israelites were of course familiar, and which influenced or colored the accounts in Genesis and the Old Testament books. An ivory form, the collection of King Magadiel Karika 1200 BCE, reported on p. 45 of the Westminster Historical Atlas of the Bible, shows a canonist ruler seated on a throne supported by a winged lion with human heads. These, say the editors of the Atlas, are imaginary composite beings which the Israelites called cherubim as winged beasts with a human head. The 2 cherubims are shown supporting the throne of Hiram, kind of ancient Biblos. See reproduction, page 132, volume 80 of Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible. Among works of more modern times, Rubens' Authorities of James I, hanged in the beautiful banquet hall of Whitehall in London and filling the long side panels shows a procession of cherubim. Contrary to painting's greeting work. Thrones are the angels of pure humility, peace, submission. They reside in the area of the cosmos where material form beings to take shape. The lower choir of angels need the thrones to access God, also known as the Ophanium. The angels serve the primary function of being God's chariot, but besides this, they are also noted as being dispensers of God's judgment, acting with impartialness and humility to bring about the desires of the Lord, having the most bizarre physical appearance of the celestial host. They are described as great wheels, covered with great many eyes and glowing with light. One explanation given for this, beside them acting as God's chariot, is that they mark the end of the first choir, where the infiniteness of God being to take on more material forms and such exist in the stage of transition. Spirits of world bring God justice to us. They are sometimes called wheels, and in the Jewish Kabbalah chariots or Merkabah, the occult book, the Zohar ranks wheels above seraphim, but other sources place them as cherubim. The whole thing being confused, the ruling prince is Oraphel or Zechabil or Zaphil.